gold, sucker! We want the gold, sucker! It'll never, ever, 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 ever be the same without my boy Ben Goosen at the helm. Just saying. What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Sage the Mark from It's Real Wrestling Podcast. Oh my goodness, what a week! What a week! What a week! If you didn't know, if you're living under the rock, it's the week of E3, and things have been going crazy. A lot of goodness, a lot of unexpectedness, and a lot of disappointment all in the same week. And that also goes for wrestling. Before we get into the weeds, always follow your boys at It's Real Wrestling Podcast, all spelled out on Instagram. If you got that gram, hit us up there. Also, you can find us at Twitter at Real WrestleCast on Twitter. Y'all hit us up there. Support your boys at Patreon, patreon.com/IRWP. Now, I honestly, I don't know where to start. We're on the eve of a Super Showdown that happened last Friday. You know that your boy didn't watch it, but I got enough sense, enough IQ, enough context clues from the community on Twitter to know what exactly went down. You had Mansoor winning the 50-man battle royal. You had Undertaker and Goldberg disappointing match, which it's to be expected. Honestly, we really wanted Sting in that position, but hey, you got what you got. We all knew that Brock's cash-in wasn't going to be a legitimate cash-in, so there was really no surprise there. And I'll dive into that a little bit more because I'm very fearful of where they're going to decide to go with that. So Seth Rollins still retaining his title. So not much to look forward to in terms of the aftermath of the Super Showdown. I did hear some rumors, something about some ladies being invited to wrestle and then them not being cleared for it, which that's kind of crummy to fly them all the way down there and not to actually have a match. But it is what it is. Raw and SmackDown. With Raw, it is what it is, man. I think that right now they're still in finding themselves mode. To say it simply, man, the brand split is completely over. It really is. And they need to stop painting it under the moniker of the wild card gimmick, because we went from having 4 to having 5 to having 6 people going in between rosters. It seems like the storylines are the same. You get the same 3 people switching between the brands. It's not making anything fresh at all. We still have the likes of Fandango. If I know he's probably still injured, but we have him. We have Chad Gable. We've got the Good Brothers. Like, we've got all this talent just sitting there in the back, not taking advantage of the wild card, and it just makes things a bit difficult. The only 2 bright spots of Raw, to be honest with you, and probably echoes that sentiment on SmackDown, is really the 24/7 European 7-Eleven Championship that R-Truth is holding. It is such a fun title, and I know it's like kooky, but that's what wrestling is about, man. It's just about having fun. I think that sometimes we get into we fill ourselves of what we think should be good by the physicality and the moves and then the lack of botches, and we just sometimes, wrestling back when we were young, it was just about having fun, getting behind a character and just writing their story to the end. And I understand that there's not a lot of storytelling between characters, and that there's a lot of backstage things going on right now. But as fans, I kind of believe that we're not having fun as wrestling. Like, we're not having fun watching the product, because we're too busy critiquing the product. And you might be saying, Sage, why you have the podcast? Why you have the podcast? It's not, it's not about critiquing the project. It's just about explaining to you guys why I enjoy it, why we have fun watching what we do. And some people might agree with me, and some people might not agree with me. But that's just kind of the way that it is, man. I try to be as objective as possible, when it comes to watching wrestling, and and it's kind of sad. Like, I don't know if it's maybe me changing or maybe it's the fans changing. It just it's getting to the point with sometimes our critiquing just can go a little bit too far, man. So I don't know. It is what it is. The 24/7 title, I love R-Truth, man, and what he's doing with the title, I think, is amazing. Um, the only thing that I would, legitimately change is, poor Gender, man. He's going after the title continuously in his ring gear. I don't get it, man. The golf course, the plane, you got to make it a little bit more realistic than being in your gear, but I'm still enjoying it. I think that we're gonna come to a point pretty soon where R-Truth is going to relinquish permanently the 24/7 title. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Carmella, to be honest with you, and let the women run with it for a little bit. I really wish that it was more along the sides of both the men and the women getting attempts at it, but we know where he is right now with that kind of contact. So, but I think that would be something that's completely different, and it doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be like crazy, like Kylie Ray and Orange Cassidy, or Disco Inferno and what's her name? Tessa Blanchard. She's gonna rip me for saying that. um, but I I think that would just be interesting. At some point, you just got to take control of your product. I mean, that's it. The Bray Wyatt thing, the Firefly Funhouse, I'm still having fun watching that. I thoroughly enjoyed this week's episode. I like the fact that the heel and the hurt came back. Like, that's my favorite part of the entire his entire moniker, his entire gimmick is the whole heel and hurt, listening to him and making a decision on what exactly Bray Wyatt wants to do. And I liked it that he took the mallet to Rabbly Rabbit. I mean, that wasn't something that I was expecting, but it just kind of got a little creepy. There was a couple of things that I had noticed of this particular gimmick itself, or this iteration of the episode. I noticed that Bray had like his makeup on his face with the bozo ears and the little lines coming down his face, kind of reminded me of like Chris Jericho in his New Japan gimmick that he has going on. So I didn't know what to take of that at first. There was some speculation going on that there was kind of some hidden messages going on between AEW or WWE and AEW, and they were using Bray Wyatt as this kind of this kind of messaging platform there. And I just thought that was crazy. I really just thought it was just more of like just AEW fanboys just kind of just throwing it out there to kind of confuse people. But then I started to go down that rabbit hole that we know we're not supposed to be going down. And in that rabbit hole, the one thing that I did notice is the mallet. Yes, the mallet. The color scheme of the mallet was pretty interesting. Aside from the top and the bottom of the mallet, which was the mask of Fiend, I think that was kind of meant to just kind of how do I say it was kind of meant to make people not pay attention to the rest of the details of the mallet. There was the red stripes, and the red stripes, which was kind of reminiscent of the all in. How do I say the all in logo scheme? So I thought that was pretty crazy. And then on the side of the mallet itself, they look kind of like dice, which I thought was pretty crazy as well. And then something I just completely like I completely just didn't pay attention to, but Rambling Rabbit has like a scarf on him, and I went back in some pictures just to make sure that I just maybe didn't miss it or something like that. That scarf is kind of like what MJF, or was it Maxwell Jacob Freeman, wears in AEW. And I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, man, but this seems just too bit of a coincidence that he has a scarf. His facial expression, Rabbit Rabbit's facial expression, kind of resembles MJF. So yeah, I I don't know if those were real shots going on, or what the deal is, man. But that's pretty interesting to kind of go down that rabbit hole. So, um, but not even. I mean, aside from that, I mean, even like Velveteen Dream, like, he's been coming out with some crazy comments about honing your character and not letting the door hit you on the way out, kind of thing, and just kind of got me to thinking that, like, with everything that was going on with John Moxley and all his interviews and everything like that, could this be could these be subtle hints that the characters themselves are actually putting out, or the creative is putting out to address AEW? Like, these are kind of attacking without formally attacking, kind of thing. But let me know. I'm really interested to see what you think about this. Is this crazy talk, or is there some legitimacy behind it? Can you get behind WWE doing these little subtle jabs to AEW now that they're considered to be a little bit more of a credible threat? Let me know, because I definitely like to know. But yeah, for SmackDown was a pretty decent show. I don't, for the life of me, I don't know what they're doing with Shane McMahon and the Miz. I don't know if this was just kind of a filler because Roman Reigns wasn't there, or probably getting rest from the tour, or what. But this Shane McMahon kind of thing is just kind of, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I am. I'm hoping that the payoff ends with where it started, which was with the Miz. But I feel like they're taking forever to kind of get there. So, the Miz is, and speaking of like throwing shots, man, the Miz in his open monologue, he was saying, I'm supposed to stick to the script. Again, that seemed like a shot towards John Moxley. So I'm like thinking to myself, like, this can't be a coincidence. We've got three shots, like three things within the last 2 days that have kind of given credence to them actually going this route. So, again, not sure where that's going, but I really do hope this whole Shane thing kind of blows over. I still think that this is Shane's last run. I think that after he blows this off with the Miz, then that's the last that we're going to see of Shane McMahon. So, but let me know what you think. Am I going crazy? Is this conspiracy theories or what? So, What else? What else? What else? So, um, Big E came back during SmackDown, which I thought was amazing. I'm glad that he was actually got that work in. Came back a lot quicker than I thought that he would, which is great. I'm just hoping that he's completely healthy. Definitely liked the New Day's opening. Their opening, I can't really say monologue, but their opening promo. Um, my favorite part about the promo itself was, you know what? Now that I think about it, this might also have been a shot to AEW too. Damn. Yo, WWE is trying to get fresh. I see what they doing. I see what they doing. So Big E kind of basically says that the amount of comebacks that happens to him is reminiscent of Charlotte Flair's title run. So I thought that was pretty clever. But then Kofi Kingston come out and says, "But that's the way." Something about like that's the way she's booked or something like that. And then like they caught themselves by saying like, "Oh, we were talking about going on a flight and things of that nature." And I was like, "Wow, yo, they really am taking like serious shots at John Moxley and AEW." So they clowns for that one. And I like that Xavier said, "Hey, we've got to wrap this up so that I can go to E3." So homie keeping it real for sure. So, um, but yeah, I'm glad that Big E's back. I feel like the New Day was getting a little stale without him, but glad that he's coming back. But with that being said, I am seriously concerned about Kofi Kingston. The more time that goes by, the more I feel that Brock Lesnar is going to cash in on Kofi Kingston. And I feel like that they're going to make that cash in kind of go in with the Fox deal, the Fox channel when SmackDown goes to Fox. And I don't like it. I'm going to be honest with you. I won't like it at all. And it's not that I think that it's like bad booking. It's great booking if they do that. You're going into it with a big name like Brock Lesnar. People are going to naturally tune in. Even though I don't think he's a draw in that type of capacity. For UFC, yes, but wrestling, I don't think that he's that big of a draw anymore. But it makes sense. It makes business sense to do that. It's just gonna be one of those moments, man. It's like when Seth Rollins turned on the Shield, or when the Mega Powers broke up. It's gonna be hard to watch. And I don't know what would be worse, like that happening, or the New Day turning on Kofi Kingston. But either way you decide to go, it's gonna make big headlines. People are gonna love it, and I mean, people are gonna love to hate it. But it will be one of those defining moments of all time. I really wish it wasn't Brock Lesnar. I really would anybody with Brock Lesnar, man. And I only say that because I like I'd like to see the champion week in, week out. And even if they're like how AJ was there, once every other week, even that I purely enjoy. But not having the champion there at all just kind of deflates. It deflates the title, but it also puts everyone else in a bad light as well. You saw how much Raw was lacking. To hold the ship together with no champion being there. And I don't want to see that happen to SmackDown. But it seems like that they are going to end up going into that direction. So, it is what it is, man. I mean, all we can do is just sit back, relax, and watch. And, hopefully something good will come of it. But we'll see. We'll see. Next week is the go home show for Stomping Grounds. I don't feel like they've done a great job of building up for it. And a lot of that has to do with them having pretty much back-to-back pay-per-views, which is ironic because last February they were touting that there weren't going to be as many pay-per-views with the first phase of the brand split coming together. with no dual pay-per-views for per brand. Um, but this kind of feels like it. You know, we had Money in the Bank, and then after Money in the Bank, we had uh, this Super Showdown, and then we're having uh, the Stomping Ground, and I think this is like in the three pay-per-views in about a month, month and a half. And then SummerSlam is like literally right around the corner. I think we might have one more pay-per-view before SummerSlam, but it's literally right around the corner, and it's a bit exhausting. So, especially when you don't have a good storyline to kind of put things together. So, I hope, I'm always optimistic, hoping that things will get better, but they really need to. By this time next year, I'm hoping that they fix this whole pay-per-view schedule thing, because it's a bit draining. It's a little bit much, but it's a bit draining, especially if there's no payoff. So, yeah, so there is that. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna have a little bit more in terms of WWE next week, but I wanted to change gears a little bit here. Last week I was listening to the community, and one of the things that really caught my ear was people not understanding or getting the appeal to Orange Cassidy. For those that don't know, Orange Cassidy is a independent wrestler. I don't know whether or not he's officially signed to AEW, but I'm pretty sure he'll be making some appearances. He was definitely there in the last two pay-per-view events that they had. But Orange Cassidy is an independent wrestler. His gimmick is from nowhere, Wayne, whatever. He's just kind of like a nonchalant kind of wrestling. It's kind of a take of like making fun of wrestling for being just outlandish and crazy. Like his movesets are completely, like his initial movesets are like completely, like obviously they don't hurt, and obviously it's like I don't care, I don't, kind of thing. Like he hits you, and he hits you like very very softly, and you're supposed to sit there and react to it. And a lot of people enjoy it, myself included. But there's just as many people who just completely hate his gimmick. So I thought I'd give like a perspective as to why I enjoy Orange Cassidy, and hopefully that kind of sheds some light in terms of what the appeal to Orange Cassidy is. So I'll start by the beginning. The very first time that I even got whiff of Orange Cassidy was a couple months back, where Velveteen Dream did a match with one of the sister or partner companies of the WWE. I can't remember what the name of it was, but people were saying, what Orange Cassidy did to Velveteen Dream, was that disrespectful and things like that. And it's not. It's his gimmick. And I decided that I'd educate myself a little bit more by watching a few of his matches. I saw his match with Kylie Ray, which I thought was amazing. The chain wrestling, that was completely awesome. He had a match with, I want to say his name is Dick Murdoch. And then he also had this match with this guy named Stars something. I can't remember his name. He tagged with Joey Janela to go against the Hyper Twins or something like that. And throughout his matches, the thing that appeals to me the most isn't so much like his style of wrestling. It's just like everyone approaches him, like every person he's in the ring with approaches him in a different way, which I enjoy. Like it's incorporating the best of both gimmicks in the ring by kind of adapting to what it is that he does. Like you don't have the traditional elbow and tie up that you do in your normal matches. sometimes the other person doesn't know what exactly it is that they're doing, and they're trying to figure it out, and they play along like the first 10 minutes, or the first 5 to 10 minutes of the match. They're they're playing along with the gimmick itself. And I even saw a match with him and Boom Boom. What's his name? Gosh, I am so bad today. I should have written some of these down. That's how you guys know that your boy does this live. Colt Cabana, and even his match with Colt Cabana, he did the same thing. And it's not about wins or losses. It's just about telling a compelling story. And I feel like he does a great job, and everyone who steps in the ring with him does a great job at telling that story. Now, is this for everyone? Definitely not. Your average fan would probably not like it, but and I don't ever think that this would ever see the light of day on like a WWE program. AEW for sure, but not WWE. But I think the appeal for most of us is just it's it's something completely different and out of the norm. Like you would never see or catch a wrestler doing some of the things that he does. The the fake kicks, the very slow mo fake kicks, the fake chops, and then him turning around and then putting up his thumbs up. I love that. I love it when he sends somebody to the ropes, they knock him down, and then he kips up with his glasses still on his face. I love that he uses the instead of Muda's mist, he uses orange juice to kind of spit into his opponent's eyes, and then he kind of juices up, and then his move sets are a lot quicker. You see him do the Canadian Destroyer, see him do the old school around the ring. His you can tell that he's a legitimate wrestler, and I think that that's the people who don't have the appeal. They see like the first 5 minutes of the match without seeing the remaining 10 minutes of the match to get a good feel of what Orange Cassidy is all about. He's the ultimate babyface wrestler, um, without really truly being a babyface. It's so fun. It's fun to watch. Orange Cassidy go. And I hope that people give him more of a chance. Like his chain wrestling is amazing. The you know the what he does in the ring with other people to showcase them and make them better. He takes crazy bumps. He bleeds for people. Doesn't have an attitude, like a straight attitude in the ring about stuff. Like it's just a joy to watch him go. And if you haven't seen Orange Cassidy, excuse me, if you haven't seen any of Orange Cassidy's matches, you can catch them on YouTube. They've got 5 or 6 different matches on YouTube, and I definitely would recommend it. I love them, and I wish I knew. I'll put the name of the match in the show notes, and I'll link up to the actual match itself. But he had this good match with this guy. I think he calls himself the star, the I don't know, the star of the show or something like that. I don't remember what that moniker was. But the guy at the beginning, he's playing along, and then and then towards the middle, he was just like, I'm fed up. I'm gonna chain wrestle this dude. I'm gonna put him in submission holds, and I'm gonna beat him, and he was just like, strong styles. Like it was crazy. It was like watching Dean Malenko go. I mean, he was pretty good. Um, but in the end, he got out wrestled, like legitimately out wrestled by Orange Cassidy, which I thought was pretty cool. And kudos to both of them, and they were both amazing at what they do. But yeah, I mean that's kind of my opinion about Orange Cassidy. You got to really give it a try. I'm not saying that you're gonna like it, and that I'm not gonna say that it's for you, but don't base your opinion on him off of the YouTube clips that you see, or the Twitter clips that you see, the GIFs or the GIFs that you see online. Go out and actually watch the match, and you might be surprised. It might be a lot more entertaining than you give yourself. I mean, than you give him credit for previously. So educate yourself. That's what I say. Go ahead, go out there and educate yourself on Orange Cassidy. Um, so with that being said, guys, I do want to reserve some time to talk about E3. I've already done a couple of I've done the reaction videos for most of the conferences already, which are on our channel. They're kind of long, so I'll try to piece them in the future. I'll try to piece them together by different videos and stuff like that. But um, man, it's been an interesting week for E3. One of my chief complaints about E3 this year, especially from the big conferences, has been a lack of gameplay for some of these games that came out. Um, for the exception of maybe Final Fantasy VII would remake, which I'm so stoked about seeing. Um, Everything else didn't really have any type of gameplay. Oh, Doom had some gameplay on there too. That was pretty cool. But the rest of them didn't have a lot of gameplay, and there was like lack of games that were going to come out this year as well. So it seems like every year that we're showcasing games that are 2 years or a year or 2 years out, but never games that are going to be coming out towards the end of the year for the holidays, which sucks because then you go into the next year's E3 conference and those games that you thought were going to come out in March don't actually come out this March. They end up getting pushed back for the following year. Cyberpunk 2020 was one of those games. That game should have been out by Christmas, but instead it got pushed back. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm excited with what they're going to do with it because it's a completely different game than I thought that it was last year. When they gave us, the hints about it. We have Keanu Reeves in it now, which I thought was pretty awesome. So I'm definitely interested to see how that goes. I also liked that. I think it was called Ghostwire. I think that's the name of the game, but that concept was pretty amazing. It was basically I guess the premises of the game is that people are disappearing everywhere, and you're kind of playing a warrior to find out what's going on. It had like the vibe of a Silent Hill, mixed in with maybe a little bit of Onimusha, but not like over the top Onimusha. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's how I would describe it. But I thought that was amazing. Shout out to Akumi Nakamura, who stole the show. Definitely the top moment of the year. Her and Keanu Reeves. Definitely excited about the new Ghost Recon game coming out. I think that one's going to be pretty awesome as well. What else? What else? What else? What else? Then we had Doom and Wolfenstein. And Wolfenstein looks pretty amazing. You got the daughters of BJ um, going to basically try to rescue him. So that looks pretty awesome. Doom looks completely amazing. And this year is definitely the year of RPGs. I think like from the very beginning, we saw like 7 to 8 RPGs and maybe 3 first-person shooters, which I thought that was pretty cool. And I was so happy that some of the first-person shooter games that came out weren't going to carry a battle royale. So this is my thing about it, man. I do enjoy battle royale, but I don't enjoy it being put in every single game. I don't think that there's a need for it. Like, it's some games just it makes sense to have it, but like if you pulled out a SOCOM, why would you have a battle royale for a SOCOM? Like, it wouldn't make any sense to do that. I don't think it belongs in Ghost Recon. I really don't believe it belongs in Call of Duty. I love it in Apex. It makes sense. But yeah, I mean that tone it. It looks like they're toning it down. But even so, I'm not I don't know. Call me old fashioned. But they did have a game, and I'm sorry, the name is escaping me, but the battle mode was pretty interesting. I thought at first it was going to be a battle royale, but it actually ended up being where two players play the bad guy, like kind of in Prey, while the hero. No, I think that was in Doom. Yeah, I think that was a game mode in Doom, and one guy plays like the buffed antagonist. So he's got everything. He's got the BFG, he's got the plasma gun, he's got the chainsaw, and basically they're just going at it in a death match, 2-on-1 type of death match. So I thought that was actually a pretty interesting concept, one that's the kind of stuff that you want to see in an E3. To be honest with you, like you want to see inventiveness, like you want to see something fresh, something new, um, but without having to reinvent the wheel. So, but what was your favorite game for E3? Let us know. Hit us up in that chat or on Twitter at Real WrestleCast. Instagram, it's Real Wrestling Podcast, all spelled out. Let your boys know what your favorite was. Final Fantasy Remake looks amazing. They had some DLCs. I think we're getting a new DLC for the Division, which I thought was pretty cool. Did just finish watching the Ubisoft conference. Liked this opening symphony for Assassin's Creed. And now I am interested in Watch Dogs. I played the first one. I had the second one, but haven't played it. This third one looks pretty cool, where you can basically take on you can actually be any NPC in the game, and take on their identity and basically do stuff, which I thought that was pretty cool. But I feel like Watch Dogs has to be careful, because then you're reaching that bloat territory where I thought that's kind of what Assassin's Creed did after AC3. It was just kind of bloat, like it was just too much features in the game, which made it kind of unappealing, or too many non-concurrent stories, which was not really appealing. So Bethesda had a pretty good conference. I enjoyed Bethesda's conference. They were really, really heavy on Elder Scroll type games. I think they debuted like 6 different types of Elder Scroll games. I'm just thinking to myself, damn, man, like seriously, like that. I don't know. That was pretty crazy. I get it's their flagship, but it felt like a lot. You get a card game, and you got like 3 card games, and you've got one open world RPG, one offline one. You got a DLC. Like, man, that was just a bit too much, man. I was a little disappointed with Square Enix conference, mainly because I think we only had like one new IP, and I was really hoping that we got a new, like a Chrono Trigger. Like I'm desperately wanting another Chrono Trigger. I mean, they had a remake or revisualized for the Switch or whatever, but we really need a new, like, if you're gonna redo a game other than Final Fantasy 7 and maybe 8, 8's my favorite. Chrono Trigger's got to be that game. Like, I just don't understand. Like, you guys got so many RPGs, and your arguably most popular RPGs are Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger, but no Chrono Trigger games. Like, I just don't get it. We get more Dragon Quest games, and I don't play Dragon Quest, but we get more Dragon Quest games in 1 year than we do 10 years of a new IP from Square Enix. That's a travesty. I don't know what you guys are doing, but it's not doing the right thing. That Star Wars had a game. I think it was called The Fallen Jedi or The Fallen Order. I think it was called The Fallen Order. Man, that looks amazing. That game looks amazing. Like, if you get a chance to go and watch any trailer, that trailer was pretty awesome. Definitely wish I would have saw some gameplay on it, but even just watching the trailer the way it was, I thought that was pretty awesome. So you guys go check that out as well. So I'm gonna plan on putting some more videos up for E3. So be sure to be subscribed to our YouTube channels, and let us know Like, I'm definitely interested to see what you guys are interested in seeing come down the pipeline. I think there was a rumor that was spoiled that there's going to be a new Zone of the Enders game. Oh my gosh! If there's truly a new Zone of the Enders game, I might do a giveaway for a Nintendo Switch. I think I might do that. I'm hoping it doesn't come out on the Nintendo Switch. I hope it comes out on PlayStation 4. But I will if that's a thing, I might consider doing a giveaway for Nintendo Switch. Let me know what you guys think. Hashtag IRWP. Should I do it? If there's a new Zone of the Ender game, should I do it? Let me know. Let me know. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for our episode of It's Real Wrestling Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, subscribing, listening to this wherever you guys listen to. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure you spread out the word that your boy Sage the Mark is still here doing the thing that is IRWP. With that being said, y'all know the drill. Keep it real.